Here's lesson 15 from Module 4, and we're taking a look at multiplying fractions one times another, and we're going to be using the visual stuff a lot this time to kind of demonstrate for you why the standard algorithm, why the parent style works the way that it does. So on this one, we are going to be solving them through drawing and writing. So starting with the drawing, I'm going to go ahead and do D down here first. And I want to talk about, why we do them in the order that we do when we look at it. Because as you know, it doesn't make any difference if I have 2 times 3 or if I rearrange that and I say 3 times 2. Because we're going to get the same answer on both of those. When we're drawing it, it kind of makes it easier in terms of making sure that one way we're doing the fourths and the other way we're doing the fifths. If when you draw it, you kind of don't really care what order you're doing it, it can happen to whereby I would accidentally go fifths one direction and fifths the other direction without really kind of keeping track. And then also too thinking about, what it is that you're doing as an of. That's where the word problems come in. I'm thinking about what it is that you're dividing. I'm going to do a word problem at the end of this that kind of indicates that as to why. So if I have 4/5 of, let's just call this a sandwich. Could I reverse these and say sandwich of 4/5? Probably not really. That would get kind of confusing. So your word problems come into play with this. So I'm going to be talking about, this one is the of. So I'm going to start with what I have before I cut it into pieces or before I divide it up. And instead of 4/5 of sandwich, if this is sandwich, let's make the sandwich. And it's 3/4. 1, 2, 3 lines gives you fourths. And we're going to color it on in. I'll use a different color. We'll go for some yellow. 3 of these places are colored in. 1 of them, 2 of them, 3 of them are colored in. And now I'm going to get another color so that we can go the other direction. I'm going to go with green. And I'm breaking it this way into fifths. I broke one direction into fourths, what I have of something. Now I'm going to say, okay, let's see how much of that is going this way. 2, 3, 4 lines makes fifths. So in this case, there's 4 out of 5 of them. And so I'm going to go ahead and count them out. So I'm going to need 4 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. So this is 4/5, this much of it, and 3/4 of it are what's colored in this way. So 3/4 of it are colored in this way. And now what we want to do is we want to figure out the area that fits into both of these. So this is the area. When you find the area of something, so area is the base times the width. So in this case, we've got actually 2 of those, 2 base times widths, right? So the base times width of the whole rectangle here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times 5. So the area of the rectangle as a whole is going to be 5 times 4. And we know, because when we multiply, we get a 20. So there's 20 little squares in the whole thing. That's the area of the whole thing. Now let's see what is the area of this, where we're actually looking at what is 4/5 of 3/4. So that's where we're looking at the numerators. That one's going to be, apparently, 4 times 3. 4 times 3. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We also know, yep, that's true. 4 times 3 is also 12. So we can simplify this because we know that both of them are going to be divisible by 4. 4 goes into 12, looks like 4 times 3 gets us that right there. And we know that 4 times 5 got us 20, so we know 4 goes into 20 5 times. Another way to look at that, I'm going to move this slightly this way, pull this out, you can see. Oop, nope, not working. Well, anyway, this one actually, I'm going to go ahead and do the equal sign this way also. 3/5. There we go. Is equal to 12/20, which is equal to 3/5. And it says it over here. It's just not on your screen. We can look at it this way too. 4, remember when we've had this as a fraction? What is 4 over 4? Well, 4 over 4 is 1. 4 goes into itself once, 4 goes into itself once. Here's that same 3/5. It ends up in here too. So when we do that cross-cancellation thing I've talked about in class, here's what's happening. Is we're just kind of putting them all over the same fraction line and then dividing them by a common multiple. Let's take a look now. I told you I was going to do a word problem that falls into all of this. Let's look at this one with the newspapers. So Musa, nice unique name, Musa delivered 3/8 of the newspapers on his route. So Musa has taken his route and he's figured it out in 8 pieces. So when he does his route, he thinks of it as 8s. So I'm going to make 7 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here's the 8th line, so I can get rid of all of this over here. I'm going to erase it. Here we go. All right, there's Musa's route. Let's get these corners back in here. Here's Musa's route. And 3/8 are delivered in the first hour. So here's 3 out of 8. This right here is first hour. And then 4/5 are delivered in the second hour. What fraction of the newspapers did Musa deliver in the second hour? So 4/5 of the rest. 4/5 of the rest. This happens right here. If he's already delivered 2/3 or 3/8, 3/8 got delivered at the beginning. This must be the rest, right? The rest. So remember I was talking about how the second part of it, the second fraction that you get in there, that it could be different. Because are we figuring out 4/5 of 8s? No, we're not. We are figuring out 4/5 of the rest. And what is the rest? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/5. 5/5. So we're figuring out what 4/5, here's your of, and the rest, numerically, it's not 5/8. It's 5/5 because it's the rest. And so giving that kind of attention, that's where the, paying extra attention to the second one. Because remember, we would have gone through, if we were making this as a whole rectangle by itself, we were looking at the second one when we go this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's your 5/5. We're looking at 4/5 of that. Here's 4/5 of that. Here's the second hour. That poor kid, it actually looks like it takes longer than 2 hours to do that newspaper route. So it's asking what fraction of the newspapers did he deliver in the second hour. So of the newspapers, this whole thing, 8/8 is the newspapers. Here was the second hour, and it happens to be, in this case, if we're going to do it in this, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 parts of the newspaper route. 1, 2, 3, 4 eighths of the newspaper route. And if we're going to simplify, 4 goes into itself once, 4 goes into 8 2 times. And if we look at this one right here, this is the same as 4/5 times 1. Remember? 5 over 5 is the same as 1. So this is we're calculating what is 4/5 of 1? 4/5 of 1 is 4/5. There you go. So you've got a couple different ways to look at this. Either one, you're good to go. Here's your homework. Couple options here. You've got this one up top, which says solve, draw a rectangular fraction model, then write. Or if you would like to, you're welcome to do this one-word problem down here. So you choose. I'm going to say pick number 1 or number 2. All right. Thanks.